you should think about decentralization really along two dimensions, or on two axes. One is governance, the other one is consensus. When we talk about governance, we're talking about decisions that are being made about the project as a whole: product roadmap, legal and regulatory posture, use of treasury, those sorts of things. When thinking about governance models, you really have three choices, major choices. You can have a dictator, one company or person making all the decisions. Bad idea, because subject to corruption, all the reasons we want to decentralize. Or you can have full democracy. That's the other extreme. But if you have really complex decisions, full democracy doesn't really work well. If the decisions to be made are simple, great, let everybody vote. But if they're complex, like what we just talked about, roadmap, legal and regulatory posture, et cetera, you don't want full democracy. You want something like a representative democracy. And that's where we sit. The council was specifically designed to be the most decentralized of its nature, of any of the public platforms. We don't use governance tokens or anything like that. The problem with governance tokens is that it's possible for a small group of entities to buy up and control governance. Each council member gets one vote. And because of that, we keep governance decentralized. And the decisions are being made by experts around the world, across industries and through time, as we've talked about. So that's governance. Consensus is when you have a bunch of nodes that are all voting on the order of transactions. And so today, consensus for us is each one of those council members running a node, and they have their pro rata weight of the stake that they vote on the order of transactions. Will be moving to community nodes in addition. They will also participate in consensus. And then finally, we will ultimately get to allowing anonymous nodes as well. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you look at some of the public ledgers out there today, you can have one or two or a handful of entities controlling consensus, practically speaking. You can even have one entity go offline and take down a huge chunk of the hashing power for a public network. That's not going to happen with us, right? We are more decentralized in consensus in those ways than a bunch of the public networks today, and we continue to decentralize along that path. So I think that we are highly decentralized along both dimensions. It's by design. It's not always intuitive when people initially view what we have, but in reality, I think it's the case.